We appreciate everybody coming out today. We had a lot going on the last few weeks here at UNA. Another big announcement today. We're going to hear from our athletic director, Mark Linder, who's going to announce our new head football coach. And then we'll hear from our coach and take questions from the podium. And then any one-on-one interviews that anybody wants, we'll be able to take care of after that. But this time we'll ask Mark Linder, athletic director, to come up.
Got it? I'm going to put it back up here. Is that all right, Jeff? I'll put it right there. Well, welcome. It's an exciting time to be a UNA Lion. Appreciate the turnout. I appreciate the media coming. This is a big day in the lifetime of our university. And so as we talk about the introduction of our new head coach and family, we're really excited that you've joined with us in this time of excitement. First of all, Dr. Kitts is not here, and he wanted me to apologize on his behalf. He had family obligation and had already had a family trip scheduled. So he is not with us, but he is here in spirit, and he's very excited also and very supportive of our new head football coach. We talk a lot at the University of North Alabama, especially in the Department of Athletics, about having a culture that is driven by graduating champions. And when you talk about culture, there's a book out there that we read a few years ago called The Advantage, and it talks about the importance of your culture and how important it is, but also how fragile it is. And so when we started looking at the next head football coach, culture was a key ingredient that we took a look at. And when you look at 2016 as a department, we had two teams play for the national championship. Softball brought the national championship home. Our football team was a national finalist. We look at the 4 consecutive football championships that Coach Willis and his staff have brought back to Florence, Alabama. We look at volleyball and what they've done in back-to-back years as far as repeating as conference champions. You look at our department GPA being a 3.07. We're very proud of our student athletes and what they do in the classroom and also what they do in this community. They provide almost 3,000 hours of community service in the Shoals area, and we're very proud of that. But that is culture, and that's what we talk about each and every day here at the University of North Alabama. And when we talk about it being very fragile, it is fragile. It doesn't take much to take the culture and put it off kilter. And so when you start looking at a head coaching replacement, you have to take a look at the importance of culture and also how culture is very fragile. And so you have to entrust it with people that you know. You have to entrust it with people that are loyal. You have to entrust it with people who you know believe in the same things you do. Chris Willis is a candidate that I believe in. He's going to be our next head football coach, and we're very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. I've had 10 years with Coach Willis and getting to know him. And I know that he believes in graduating champions, and he's committed to it. I've made this comment to a few people, and the fact is, if we don't hire Coach Willis as our head football coach, somebody else will. He is that good. And I believe in what he stands for. I believe in his ability to recruit. I believe in his ability to win football games. And so that's the reason why I'm so excited to have Chris as our next head football coach. People asked about the search, and I'll tell you what we look for when we go out for a search. And I'm trying to answer a lot of questions on my behalf so that Coach Willis can come up and have his day in the sun. But when we go out and look at coaches to come in and lead our programs, we look at 3 things. Number 1 is character. The second is the ability to recruit. And the third is the pedigree of that individual. And our staff knows when we're going to hire a head coach or an assistant coach, those are the 3 criterion that we are always looking at. Well, there's no doubt in my mind about Chris's character and his integrity. There's no doubt in my mind his ability to recruit. He is a tireless recruiter. And then when you look at his pedigree, from working with Steve Campbell to Mark Hudspeth to Terry Bowden to Bobby Wallace, and looking at over his 15 years here at the University of North Alabama, winning 7 conference championships, going to the playoffs 12 times, I think it's like we've won 139 football games since Chris has been here on staff. That's 9.2 wins a year. That's amazing. He's been the glue to every new football coach that has come in. And so that's why I'm excited today. I believe in Chris Willis, and I hope you do too. And so I'm going to introduce him as our next head football coach. Chris, come on up.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Well, first off, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, let me just say this. I'm looking around the room today. I see a lot of friends that I've had for 15 years being here. I moved here in 2002, and I can't call everybody by name because I'll miss somebody. So it means a lot to see you out here today. I've received a lot of text messages and phone calls over the last couple of days, and it's been going on all day. My wife's ready for me to put the phone in the drawer and cut it off, but thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Another thing I want to say, and on behalf of the football team and on behalf of Coach Wallace, I know is here today, and I think he would back me on this. I know he would. Just coming off the trip to Kansas City Saturday, I want to say this to our fans. We were aware of the group, the student body that was trying to make it out at midnight, I believe it was, on the 3 buses. We knew about the fans that drove up and had to turn back. And we saw the fans in the stands, the people that sat on the road, I think 3 to 4 hours. That means the world to me, it means the world to our players. There was nothing that looked more beautiful than that snow, looking back at that purple flag waving. And I want to just say that first and foremost. I don't know if that's been said enough, but thank you to the fans that showed up in Kansas City. I know the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but I really do appreciate that. Couple of things I want to say also to the media. I see you guys, and some of you have known quite some time, and I appreciate you guys being here and being supportive, and hope we can continue that great relationship, Greg. We've been awful good to each other. Let's continue that. Exactly, exactly. Let me say this. President Kitts is not here, as Mark addressed. He called me on the phone yesterday, and we spoke maybe 15, it felt like 15 minutes. And I know he's watching. I'm not sure what camera, I guess straight ahead here. I want to tell President Kitts thank you so much. He told me yesterday that he had my back. He's 100% on board, and I believe it. And his short tenure here, I think he said the other day, he's been here 18 months. I have seen that guy all over the city of Florence, from downtown to Little League ball games. We have kids that are about the same age. At all the UNA sporting events. If you're not on board now, you need to get on board, because that guy's got a vision and a plan, and it's a good one. And I can't wait. I'm just honored to be able to have my first job under President Kidd. So I want to thank him, and it means the world to me that he made that phone call yesterday. I want to thank Marty Abrams and the Board of Trustees. I know majority of them, if not all of them, and thank you for your approval as well. To Mark Linder. What I can say about Mark is he's got an open door policy. Whether he wants me back there or not, sometimes he may shut that door starting tomorrow. He'll have the door open. I'll knock on it. I'll go sit down. He's probably right in the middle of something very important, but I know this. He turns and he takes his time to sit and listen about how bad the Atlanta Braves are and their pitching staff and stuff that probably has nothing to do with winning at UNA at that time. But you know what? He sits, he listens, he nods the head thinking maybe 10 more minutes he'll shut up and leave. But I appreciate it, Mark, and I want to continue our relationship, and it's been a good one, and I want it to continue. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now bear with me a little bit. I wasn't going to thank a lot of people, but then I changed my mind, because I don't know how many times you get to do something like this. And so hang in there with me. His administration staff, I see all of them basically here. And, man, it means the world to me. You guys have been through this with me for 15 years, majority of you. See, Todd, you guys standing over there. I told Mark I didn't know if he knew this, but I didn't know my contract came with a stylist group. This morning I had guys helping me pick out, Brock and Todd and Dan and Andy were back there picking out my ties, my shirts, and thank you. I didn't know that was part of the deal to have a stylist group when we go on the road. Thank you. He mentioned Steve Campbell. I've got to thank Steve Campbell. In 1999, he gave me an opportunity to coach, and it was at Delta State University. I was a GA under Steve. He's now the head coach at Central Arkansas, and I don't know if he knows this, but we'll be trying to get a hold of him to play some football games in the future. But I want to thank him. I was part of a championship in 2000. I don't know if you remember. We came here in 2000 with Delta State, and we won the national championship here at Brawley. And that was a great experience, and I was able to be a part of something big. While at Delta State, I met a guy by the name of Mark Hudspeth. He was the offensive coordinator. Took the job here in 2002. And that's how I ended up in Florence, basically. He offered me a job to come here, and I want to thank Mark. Learned a lot from both. Terry Bowden came in behind Mark for 3 football seasons. And, he had inherited a staff. And it goes back to something else about Mark. He looks out for his assistant coaches. I'll never forget that. And, Terry came in, pretty much took the staff that he had. We sat down and we talked things through on what he wanted me to do, and he let me do my job. And I want to thank him for that. This next person, I'd say I was going to get emotional. Hang tight. Coach Willis, he means the world to me. My kids are going to make fun of me. Something's in my eye. Something flew in. But Coach Willis, I know he's in here somewhere. In 2012, he took the job. I was I think maybe the first person he called and wanted to know would I stay aboard. And he wanted me on his staff and gave me the opportunity to be the defensive coordinator. And I'm going to tell you something. In these 5 years, I've learned a lot. I've learned to have patience. I want to make decisions right now and go right now with it. He taught me how to sleep on it for one night. And it's been a great journey. And Coach Willis, I don't know where you're at, but thank you so much. You mean the world to me. Keep your phone on. I'll be calling you. And I know Megan overheard what I heard. We have it on video if we have to play it back. I did hear that we would be giving to the program and donating. And I've seen pictures of the new home, and so I will be calling you. So thank you, Coach Willis. I want to thank my mom and dad. They're not here today, and hopefully they've got their internet up and running and they're watching this. My mom and dad have taken me all over from Little League. We were the Little League family. My dad was the commissioner of a ball field. My mom ran the concession stand. We'd be out there early in the morning cutting grass, lining off the field. That's how I got involved in sports. My dad always wanted to be a coach, and it just wasn't able to work out for him. And I know, and I hope he's watching this, and it means the world to me, Dad. Your support, Mom's support, my sisters, all my family back home. It means everything to me. They're not able to be here today. They've kind of been sick, in and out a little bit, and so, but they're going to be here. I think Saturday. I'm hoping to get them to come over Saturday for Christmas. But Mom and Dad, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Obviously, if I don't thank the next person, I may be going with Coach Willis to the lake house. But I want to thank my wife. And listen, and that's not coach talk. This is the truth. Coach Willis said enough yesterday about sharing to where, understand this, I'm only as good as my assistant coaches. I'm only as good as my assistant coach at home. No matter of the wins and losses, you walk in the door, you get the same reaction. And, we've dropped some tough ones in the past and on playoff days, and I walk in, and, they want to know if I want to go watch Peppa Pig and Pokemon. And, they don't really care about the outcome of the game. So, Tara, I appreciate it so much, and thank you for your support. I got to have you the rest of the way. So, if you only knew. If y'all only knew. But just so everybody knows, this is my sons. I don't know if you're getting them or you can see them. It's Cody, Bo, and Drew, and I love them to death. I moved here. I wasn't married. I didn't have any kids, and this is home for us. That we love Florence. I've had some opportunities to go places. I've interviewed for a couple of jobs, and it comes back to the same thing. It's the people and the place, and I don't want to leave. We don't want to leave here. We love it. And that's one of the reasons standing here today, it makes me so happy in the heart to know I'm going to still be coaching here. My wife, I've never seen anything like it when I actually walk away from a phone call from basically telling somebody I'm not going to accept the job or I'm going to stick around. She gets so excited. And I thought it was supposed to be the other way around. Or I tell her, look, I'm not going to get the job today, and she's over there fist pumping. And so just to tell you, this means the world to us to be here in Florence. This is our home. let me say this, and I'll kind of go into a couple things here and end it as quick as I can, because I know me in front of a microphone can last a while. I know a lot of people are going, oh, man, how long is this going to go? We got Christmas Sunday. So, Mark talks about the culture. Coach Willis talks about the intangibles. All of that goes hand in hand. Everybody says, well, how did you do it this year? How did you get to the championship? Because I've seen more talent here in the past, and I would agree. Gabe Posen here. That team we had in 2013 was a good football team. Last year's football team, Luke Wingo, those guys were good. The thing that I saw different this year that I want to keep going forward with is the coach-player relationship, the relationship we have with our administrators. I want to be able to pull up, and our players want to be able to pull up in their car and get out and go into that building with excitement that we're going out here today to better ourselves, to continue the things we've been doing. There's nothing broke, guys. There's nothing broke, okay? I'm not here to fix anything. I'm here to continue everything the way we've been doing it. Coach Wallace laid down a plan in 2012, and I'm going to continue that plan. I believe in having surrounded myself with good people. And I've been a part of teams that have got so much talent that it's the most unbelievable talent you've ever seen assembled in Division II. But sometimes they didn't play for the team, and sometimes it wasn't always about the university and the fans. It was more about themselves. This last year's team that we just got done with this past Saturday, it was about us. It was about the team. It was about one another. It was Philbert Marshall's, Jacob Tucker's. I could go on and go on, on and on. Freddie Reed, number of players, So we had that type of team. It was a close-knit family, and they worked very hard. And I think that's why we achieved what we achieved. I want to make sure that everybody's understand. I told Mark this in our meeting. I want to make this clear. I understand there's a transition coming. And I'm all for it. We're proud. I'm excited. I can't wait to get started with that. But we're Division II, one more season. We're in the Gulf South Conference. And I want to end on a high note. I want to win a fifth Gulf South Conference. I don't want to just sit back, play a few games, and let's move on into transition. I'm out to win. I got in this business because I'm a competitor. All coaches are competitors. I was an athlete at one time. I may not look like it no more, but at one time I was. And, whether it's throwing darts, shooting free throws, I want to win. If you tell me this is going to be impossible, then you know what? I'll take the challenge. And this next season, we're going to do all we can to win the Gulf South Conference Championship. And I don't want to say go back to Kansas City. I hope within the year maybe they'll change the venue so we can play somewhere warm. I'm not a big fan of the snow, and I don't want to see snow this Christmas. Sorry. But anyway, I plan on making another run, and I want to. I know it's going to be work. We're losing a lot of good players. But you know what? That's called recruiting. We lose good players every year. Coach Wallace will tell you that. That's just part of this business of what we do. And I don't want to come off arrogant, because I'm not an arrogant person. You people know me. I'm not cocky. But, recruiting's my passion. And I'll get out and I'll recruit. And you're going to have my staff is going to be out recruiting. And we're going to replace these players. I can promise you that. And everybody in my league, and I'm good friends with all the players, all the coaches throughout the Gulf South Conference. They've called me and thanked me and wished me luck. But they know that I'm going to recruit. And they're going to have the work cut out for them. And moving forward, that's going to be the thing I hang it on is recruiting. And saying that, I mentioned going into the Division I. I'm excited about that. I understand that's going to be some tough times probably and some transition and the way we all got to learn this together. We're familiar with a lot of things. I've got a lot of colleagues that are already at that level, and I'm already caught up to speed on a lot of things and a lot of great ideas, and I can't wait to put them to use. But once again, it goes back to recruiting. This, just like the reason I want to be here, my family wants to be here, Florence sells itself. I cannot tell you how many times we'll bring a recruit here, and I don't even really have to get in there and talk scholarship. They want to come just because of the city of Florence and the people they've met. And so, that's the honest truth. You can ask Coach Wallace. We get so many players because just the city itself. And I can see that continuing. I talked about surrounding myself with a great staff, and I know that might be one of the questions you guys are going to ask. And in the fairness of that, I haven't been able to sit down individually and speak with all my staff, but I can tell you we've got a great staff. We've got a great staff here. Obviously, I've got to probably replace me in my position at defensive coordinator, but we've got some ideas. So, I haven't been able to talk to these guys, so, just keep that in mind if you do ask me. In the fairness of those guys, I haven't been able to meet with them. and I'll kind of end it with this. It's an open door policy, guys, at Next Door. I want you to come over and share your ideas. I want you to sit in with me. I may not agree with you, but I'll listen to you. Just like Mark, he come by, drop in, throw your 2 cents out there, so to speak. I'll listen. I'm only as good as my supporting cast. You can ask any coach in the country from any level, and they're going to tell you this it's right here in private. They'll say, you know what, I've got a great supporting cast, great administrators, I've got a great president, I've got a great wife at home, I've got all of these things. It takes all of that to be successful. I can't do this by myself. I cannot. And then that's why I got to have everybody in this room. I've got to have all the help. Moving forward, we need help. And so I can't, just to say that, it goes back to Coach Willis and the comment I made earlier about, I'll be looking you up for the donation. But moving forward, that's something just to keep in mind. I'm going to need everybody on board. I guess that's about it. I don't know. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I know my wife's heard me walk around the house talking and practicing a little bit of the speech. But Merry Christmas. I'm proud to be your next football coach from Roar Lions. Thank you. Thank you.
This time we'll open up for any questions from the meeting.
How involved do you plan to stay with the defense, or will you just kind of turn that over to somebody?
Well, it's going to be hard for me to turn anything over to anybody. I'm a hands-on guy. I plan on trying to hire a guy. Got a couple people in mind. I do think that's important to me to be able to do my job as a head coach. It's been done before, being a head coach and coaching one side of the ball. I'm not really sure. I'm not 100%. I've gone back and forth on that. But I think right now I am leaning towards hiring a defensive coordinator.
Could you just kind of expound on what you've learned from the head coaches you've served under? Here was kind of 3 distinct.
Yeah, and that was something I left out. You're talking about all these coaches have been successful, every one of them. I started with Steve Campbell, and it was all the hard work that I watched him put on the practice field. And some coaches practice longer than others and game plan differently. And his work ethic was unbelievable. And that's why he's where he's at today. Mark Hudspeth was considered one of the best CEO-type guys, running the football program on a daily basis. And I learned a lot of off-the-field stuff with him. Terry Bowden was a lot of in recruiting. He had a passion for recruitment, just like me. And I watched him work that and picked up tips from him. And obviously, Coach Wallace, I about could say it's all the phases of that. The thing I take away from Coach Wallace is just our relationship with our staff and players. And he used to tell me all the time, I'm not going to come to work if I don't like coming to work and being around the coaches and players. And that's the same thing with Mark with the culture. I've learned that, with Coach Wallace, it's about how you treat people and the respect you get from one another. And so I tell you, I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate. And to take those coaches and mold all that into one thing, to work under all these coaches. And I didn't get to mention this. When I got hired in 2002, I worked for Dan Summey. He was the athletic director at the time. I don't know if Joel Urban's watching. He was also one of my athletic directors. So I'm sorry. I meant to thank you guys, and I've already mentioned Mark, but I think I jumped away from your question there. Sorry. Can I say this? I'm gonna say this. This is kind of funny. I know. I saw Mark Hudspeth the other day, and we're standing there talking, and he goes, man, I remember back in the days when we would get popped on a Saturday, and the playoff games were 12, 1 o'clock, and we'd get home at 3. And I'll never forget, he would call me up. Chris, man, I'm sorry. I wish the outcome could have been different. But he was leading up to something. And he'd always go, man, do you think Greg's going to get me in the paper tomorrow? And I said, yeah, Coach, but I'm just glad you're the head coach. Well, I see him Tuesday night, and he just reversed the order on me. He says, I'm glad you're the head coach there now. But I thought that was funny. Just try to get on a good side here, Greg.
Coach, I know Coach Wallace really tried to capitalize on recruiting local guys to fill those stands with local
I am. This next season, and it's kind of like 2 recruiting plans. I told Mark this. The first recruiting plan is to win the Division II, and by doing that, it's high school, it's some junior college, and it is some 4-year transfers. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I won't bring any 4-year transfers in. But moving forward, I want to, in the fall of 17, we got to start transitioning towards Division I. And we've got to have a good base, and a lot of that base is going to be pretty much high school across the board. Not that we would never take 1 or 2 transfers, but I would probably take more of that now than I will in the future. And it's just 2 different ways to recruit. I think right now, because we've got 1 year left, I'm trying to fill some immediate needs. And sometimes you can't do that with high school right now. But building for the future, I can. So, yes, I will be recruiting locally.
And I know you talked about you moved here to accept this job. And you said a lot of your guys come here, they fall in love with Florence. What made you fall in love with this city and want to stay here?
Well, you know, first of all, you'd have to know where I'm from. And man, I know my mom and dad's watching. I don't mean this, but my people back in Aberdeen, Mississippi, don't get me for this. I love the people back there, and I grew up there and have great memories there. But we grew up in small areas. My wife is from the Delta area, and so when we moved to Florence, you can imagine this looked like New York City does. And no, it's just the people. In 2002, I met so many different people, and then by 2003, it was just like a family. And I mean, looking here today, I know you guys don't have the cameras pointing in that direction, but it means a lot to see the people that are in here. It has a lot to do with that. I mean, my wife, we've met so many people. That's really, it's the people. And that's why we don't want to leave. I've got a lot of babysitters built in. And by the way, we're still looking for babysitters. Guys, smile. They're good, trust me. We were going to wear ties, but they turned into tug of war and a little bit of everything else around the house, so we decided to go without the ties. So. Anyway.
Are you surprised in the coaching world today? It seems like every time a coach goes to another job, the staff is kind of goes elsewhere. Also, are you surprised you've lasted through 3 coaching changes here?
I am, but that goes back to the people I work for, the people above me, Mark Linder, other people, some of the board of trustees that I don't know if they're in here that I've known over the years, some of the people that are in the room that just, I credit a lot of that to all these guys that, I guess gave me a good resume behind the door. And it's very fortunate to survive something like that. You don't see that. You're right. And I don't take that for granted. 3 ADs, 3 head coaches since being here at UNA, and they've all been wonderful. I mean, they really have. And so I credit a lot of that just to, I'm sure the bosses, the head people had to hear it from somebody, and I take a lot of that being in the community and the friends I've made in my time here.
First official day on the job, what's the first order of business?
Well, it's recruiting. I just can't talk as much. Recruiting's my passion, and we've got to get started there. I will say this. I have not Christmas shopped, and you're going to see me out today Christmas shopping. I've got to go do that, and Christmas, I think, is Sunday. We don't even know. I mean, we landed on Sunday. Coach Willis is in here on Tuesday. We're back here on Thursday. Christmas is Sunday. I got to go Christmas shop, so take that back. I got to go Christmas shop. But then recruiting, and the coaches that are here, I've got to kind of meet with these guys individually. I want them to get home. We're ready for a little bit of a break. I'm ready for a break, but it won't be much of a break. We're going to get started pretty quick.
Any other questions? Just one quick note. Coach Willis has not signed his contract yet because of the holidays, so it'll be taken care of in January, but it will be a multi-year contract, but that's really all the details we can give you right now on that. But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.